Welcome back, traders. Second portion of our show, Market Movers. And let's start off with Groupon, Dennis.
Yeah, obviously started trading publicly on Friday around 10:45. Had a pretty wild range, 26 or 25.90 on the low end, 31.14 on the upper end. The IPO price was 20, so the people who did get the initial offering there are probably pretty happy that they got it because they could sell for pretty much an immediate profit there, Joel. We always look at, where these things, trade, relative to where the offering was, which was at $20. So it's got a 6-point premium still there. A lot of times you do see these things trade back down to there, but just from a valuation perspective, I almost think this stock is ridiculously valued. But, sometimes these bubbles can last a long, long time is a problem. It's often very expensive to short these stocks off the bat too with the borrowing costs. So it's tricky, you're definitely putting on some risk, If you could go, a year down the road, I think the stock's lower, but who knows where it goes in the meantime, Joel.
Yeah, it should be fun to follow. 25.90 was the low and settled near the lower end of the range. So it'd be interesting to see the early activity. We can start following this stock for a few days. It's kind of easy to do numbers on a stock like this when it only has 1 day of trading. But just to let all of our listeners know, we have been contacted by Groupon, but we have decided not to be part of one of their offerings.
But so I would look at this 25.90 low that it made on Friday. If it starts to take that out, then you've got a reference point. So I would use that for your first swing number. Takes that out. I wouldn't be a buyer there, but if it cuts through there, then you can maybe try a short through there. And if it starts to cut back up, you're going to have to give it some room though too, because this thing obviously is going to have a pretty wild range probably again. So if you're going in there trying to risk a nickel or a dime, it's probably going to be a tough trade. You're probably going to get stopped out. But give it a little bit of room. You could see, if it starts to break through the 25.90, you could see this thing pull back significantly in a hurry.
Can you short it yet, Dennis?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can short Groupon yet. Sometimes they have some rules on some stuff, but I think you can actually, Joel, here. Well, why don't I just try to throw an order out there and see what happens? I wasn't trading it on Friday, but...
And also, let's just take a note that all of the volume on Friday was pretty significant at 49 million. So that will be on the first up day or down day. It would be interesting to see how the volume corresponds. And we'll just see. We'll see how the newest IPO on the street does.
It's difficult to locate over in my Ready software, and it's also difficult to locate in IB. So it looks like it is going to be a difficult short. But there was some people talking about having short positions in there, so I think it's probably just going to be really costly to short it. That's going to be the problem. Probably the borrowing rate, if you can locate it, is going to be very high. But let's move on to the next stock here, Joel. We will look at... Well, we can go on to this ADPI. We're not going to talk too much technicals on it because it looks like the price is the price, but $10.38 is getting taken out privately for $19 a share. So nice premium to those shareholders here. Obviously, these things tend to just now, it's at $18.65, so it'll probably just slowly drift up over the course of, the next, month or so as that price, as that takeover date approaches.
Do we have any other stocks in that sector? I mean, American Dental Partners? What would be correlated with that?
I don't know. You can go Google, go to like a Morningstar. The best thing to do is if you don't know off the top of your head, you can go to like a free site like a Morningstar if you don't have any software that does this. If you have software, great. If you don't, you can go to like a Morningstar. You can put ADPI and then you say like group peers. You can go find the group peers and the different things in there. So that's one thing you can think about. So maybe there is some possible pairs. I didn't look into that before the show here. But Joel throw me under the bus there on that one. But so that's the best way to do it. There could be some stocks having a sympathetic move with that. I'm not sure off the top of my head what's in that sector, though.
It's like pulling teeth getting a straight answer out of you.
Yeah, I know. That's the way we are. The gold stocks. Gold's a little bit higher here this morning, Joel. GLD trading 172.50, which is up 1%, $1.65. So we got Barrick trading up a little bit. We've got GG trading up a little bit. $52 on these things, man. I'm looking at like AVX and the GG. Both of them have some resistance at that $52 level. Actually, some size at 52 on the GG as well. So there's a level for you to think about. AEMs, obviously there's a bunch of gold stocks, NEM, so anything, any of your gold stocks are all trading a little bit higher today, like AEM's trading 46.45, which is up $1. You got any individual numbers on those, Joel?
Oh, I gotta confirm that ABX and the GG at the $52 level. Newmont, which has recovered a little bit better, is knocking on the door there at $69.60. The Agnico Eagle mines, I think they're the one that had to close one of their mines due to safety hazards or something, right? Because that stock has fallen off a cliff here since being at $70 in September. That has not recovered quite as much, probably due to those other factors we mentioned. But just keep in mind it has a gap to fill between 45.53 and 48.75.
OVTI, which technologies, that stock is getting beat up pretty good here this morning. They actually lowered their revenue guidance for the next quarter. They actually announced a stock buyback with that, so maybe they were trying to offset their lower revenue guidance. It's not working here this morning because the stock is down 19%, trading $13.95 after closing at $17.31. Chart is, we've got that 1260 52-week low that we set in October. That could come into play here today, so maybe that's your first level of support. On the resistance side, that $15 number looked pretty big. Maybe if it goes into rally mode, you find some sellers there on the high 1490s. What do you think, Joel?
Yeah, I'd use that 1260 as a good number on the downside. Looking that's been that was low back in October, so it looks like that should get tested today. Also, going back to October of '09, you had a low at actually for several months, October, November, and December of '09, you had a lot of lows and consolidation around the $12 area. So if we do take out the 1260, I would look for things to, start to thicken up right around the $12 level.
Cisco Corp, the other Cisco, SYY, reported here this morning. This is the food distributor. Closed at $27.80. It's trading $28.26 right now after reporting their earnings. This $28 looks huge to me on the chart. If it opens over that, that might provide you some support. So I'd use 28 for my swing number. Obviously opens below that. That still remains resistance. So we still got 50 minutes before the open. So check out the SYY in that 28 level there, Joel. What do you think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, this is, it's not up a huge percentage, so, that 28, I'd use that as a swing number. If it comes back down, can't hold it, I'd expect it to, start to come back in and fill in from part of yesterday's range, which was 27.85 to 27.43. So let's just call that 27.50 level. There's real good support in this stock, and 28 resistance. This doesn't look like a huge mover.
Here's a stock that absolutely got killed on Friday, MasTec, which is MTZ. Stock is trading $17.85 after closing at $17.52, but this stock was up there at $22 there. Really got rocked. Bounced kind of off that 16 support area. They're announcing a stock buyback, a small one there today, trying to probably give their stock a lift after the just Friday. MTZ, Joel.
Yeah, you do get Friday's low at 1581, so that should be real good support. Coming back, you do have Friday's high at 1839, and then let's see if it could just work its back way in and fill the gap between 1839 and 2124.
Other stocks, we got some small movers. There's nothing really major moving here today. PGH, which is Pengrowth Energy, that's a Canadian energy stock. They're doing a secondary offering, so that's got that stock underwater. It looks like it's settling here at 1038. Just going to the chart here and looking at that, the stock had major resistance up there at 11. That's not going to come into play today. Rarely do you see the secondary offerings go up on a day that they're diluting the stock. So $10 looks pretty big to me on this. I don't know if it's going to get that low or not, but often, where they're diluting the stock at the secondary, I didn't see what the offering price is. You may want to just Google that and find it out, but that's often where the stocks like to trade to, is where those offering prices actually are. So stock is trading 1038 here and settling in, Joel.
Yeah, you did have just a quick drop after the news was announced. Should be real interesting to see if we can hold this 1030 level, Dennis. That was the low for the last 3 days. If it breaks below there, 990 is the 4-day low. So see what happens at 1030 in that one.
Amgen, just hitting the tape here. I can't see the headline, but just popped in my filter here 10 seconds ago. Popping up 56.42. So Amgen's trading up here $1.25. There is some news on that. I didn't have time to read the headline here yet. 55.17 closed at 56.42. So maybe some of your biotech stocks, as Amgen's getting a lift here, that's one of your main ones. Maybe some of your other biotechs can move too. What do you think on the Amgen chart, Joel?
Busted through the triple top, 55.77 and 55.95 on that favorable news announcement. I do see a high back there at 56.66, which was a 4-day high. Looks like we're poised to challenge that. If the news is not so good, I expect this to come back down and challenge the 56 area. But the major resistance would be at 57.56, which was the high on the 31st of October.
We've talked about stocks winding up, and we've talked about this Apple stock, getting this tighter range. Look at Google, Joel. I was just looking at the chart on that one today. That $600 level on Google has been like a magnet here as well. The stock just keeps hanging out here right around this 600 area. We topped out 599.74 on Friday. We are trading down 594.80 today, but man, that stock has just been tightening up to around this 600 area. So obviously 600 I would continue to use for my swing number on that Google as it continues to wind up. What do you think on Google, Joel?
Yeah, it's going to break out one way. It's going to break down below 580 and crash down to 560 and fill the gap. Or it's going to break above 600 and go to 700. But it's sure having a hard time getting through that $600 level. Dennis, we're kind of seeing the reverse effect that we had back when we were bottoming out in October, where you're staying in tight ranges, almost having inside days. Just winding up for the next move. Since we've had a 200-point rally in the S&Ps. Maybe it's winding up to continue to get up into the yearly highs, up in the mid-1300s, or perhaps settle back down in that current range, or the range that we had before the solving of the European situation, which still isn't solved.
We're winding up for something here, Joel, because the ranges on all of these stocks are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So we're probably eventually going to break one way or another. I would imagine it's going to be on one of those European headlines, because that seems to be the overall driver from day in, day out. So Amgen's still trading up here, just to give you an update, 57.33. So it looks like the Amgen news is going to be pretty good there, Joel. The stock keeps popping up.
Okay, maybe it's time to put some strangles on in some of these stocks.
Yeah, so that's all I've got for you today, Joel. There's a lot of little movers, but nothing major here today.
Okay, all right. We'll be back with you tomorrow, folks. Have a good day.